Okay, never done one of the videos like this before, so everybody bear with me. We've been talking about it for a while, and we wound up making an addition to the camping. So we decided to do a kayak, and we picked an AdvancedFrame Convertible Elite from Advanced Elements. Part of the reasoning on picking this is right here. We got a deal on it from Amazon, and it seemed to be the way to go. What we're going to do is pull the box open. I already untaped it and everything, but we're going to see what we got, make sure nothing is missing, and sort of go from there. Okay, here we go. And if you wanted to know, this is where we dry the tent after we've set everything up and come home whenever it was raining. So overall, this is what we've got. It comes basically in a large backpack, so bags here in the box, that's a good start. We'll move the box out of the way. And this is the color it's supposed to be. They call it a red, it's actually sort of an orange. We just don't have room for a full kayak, but we've been watching these and they seem to work well for everybody, so we decided to give it a try. Alright, that looks like a seat. And another seat. And I think that's going to be all we have in there. Oh, nope. Alright, and it's got an instruction manual in there. So it's looking like we're doing pretty good on this. Like I said, it had the note that there might be missing connectors, but overall not bad. So I looked at some of the stuff online, so this is pretty much what I'm expecting on it. This is the 10007 Elite, which the difference with it comes with what they call a drop stitch floor, which is already here. It adds a little more stiffness to the kayak or something. I can see sort of how that would be useful, and we're just sort of going to follow the directions here and see what we find. The one thing about this, looks like all of our parts are here. They come with really the only thing that I hadn't seen. There's a repair kit right here. Not really sure what's in the repair kit, and cross that bridge if we need it. These kayaks do not come with a pump. However, we also got the pump from Amazon also. Unfortunately, it wasn't an open box, so let's see what we got here. Toss that box out of the way. I decided it was just easier to get their pump. They also make an electric pump. So we'll see how this goes. Their pump does come with all the attachments for the different nozzles and such things that you've got in here. So that seemed to be the easiest way of doing it. And we are going to figure this out as we go. Their pump has a pressure gauge on it, which is one of the big things. The big things on these, they say, is don't overinflate them. And that's interesting. It has an inflate side and a deflate side on it. So I guess right now we're going to attach this on the inflate side. And we are going to take a wild guess. We will be right back and figure out what we're going to do here where we hook it up first. Okay, a little bit of reading, it never hurts. Using this pump, they say that it should inflate on 55 pumps. And they're very, very big about not inflating this first air chamber fully. I think they go to 2 psi. Says do not inflate the chamber to 2 psi. It has to do with as they inflate other parts, that put some more pressure on it, is what it seems like. All right, so we're going to start inflating the main channel. Main chamber 1. We got to find the right adapter. And we're going to see what this valve in here does. So, okay, learned a little bit. The inside of this valve, they're numbered 1, 2, 3 apparently, but the insides of these valves, it looks a lot like this one, has a little tab inside it that if you can twist it, you can do an inflate and deflate. It locks in, and it came locked in on the deflate position. You twist it just a little bit, it pops up. Then you put this adapter on it that has a piece that holds it down. I did find it's easier to screw the adapter in here first and then attach it to the hose. There were a couple of trials on that. But we seem to be good there. Get it attached, and we're going to do the 55 pumps and see what happens. All right, beginning to look a little more like a kayak. Okay, we have our first lesson. If you remember, I said that it was easier to screw the little screw thing onto the valve first and then attach the hose. Yes, it definitely was. However, then you take the screw thing off, and whenever it comes off, it pops the valve up so it doesn't leak. That's all great and wonderful. It's rather difficult to undo this thing from the hose. My solution, going to get a pair of pliers and hope that I don't break this. Comes out real easy with a pair of pliers, so we are going to add that to our kit to take camping. So we put the cap on this one, and kayak's pretty good. I mean, it's numbered. You move to number 2 over here, and we will inflate with number 2. So same thing, I'm going to screw this thing on first and then attach the hose. Okay, and there is a little tab on the side of this thing that makes twisting it off a little bit easier, but the pliers work just as well. They just said 2 psi on this one, so they've got that marked off on here. We're going to work with this and see what happens, and I'm not going to make you suffer through that one this time. Okay, we're back. Already put the cap on this one. It's beginning to look like a kayak. Now we inflate the floor. Now they're labeled 1, 2, 3, so you really don't get lost. But we change ends. I decided to try this time instead of the pliers. Still a little hard to get in here, but it works. The little tab on this works well for twisting it off. So you can do it without carrying anything with you. This adapter for the floor goes in and twists and locks on the piece in the floor instead of it being threaded. I'm not sure why they decided to use a different adapter down there. Looks to me like it would have been easier to keep the same adapters, but it probably has to do with outfits in the floor, the space they have, I don't know. That little valve seems to work the same way with the little pop-up piece in it. The floor, we'll look again, goes 4 to 6 psi, so we will see what that is going to take. Okay, long story short, whenever I took it off before, whenever we'd inflated it, I'd left the little push down part of the valves that I'd mentioned earlier. There's one in this one too. I left that down in the deflate position. So, pumped it back up. Let's pop this thing off and see what we get. There we go. That's the sound we wanted, not a lot of rushing air. All right, we'll put this little cap on. And I believe our next things are going to be, well, the directions said go ahead and put these little stiffeners that go on the stern and the bow in. So we will slide these things in. For those of you that don't know, part of the advanced frame, like I said, this is a 1007 Elite. The difference with the Elite is you get little different seats. We'll get to those in a minute. And you get this drop stitch floor that helps stiffen up the kayak. But the others are just the same. They've got an aluminum frame here, and then dual inflatable chambers in them, and they've got the same thing on the front end. But you put this little stiffener in here, and then we'll come down here and put this one in. Just fit in there quite nicely. Everything seems to be attached, so you don't really have to worry about losing things. All right, let's see what we have next. They do talk about you don't want to really overinflate these things, and a lot of times when you get them out in the sun, the air pressure will start to go up. I don't know, between the water and the sun, we'll learn as we go on that, but overinflating them can be bad for the air chambers in them. But you can replace all the different parts, so it comes assembled with the cover on it and everything, but their manual does tell you how to completely disassemble it, and they've got spare parts available, so we'll go from there. All right, we got a few little things, like there's some bow stiffeners up here that we got to inflate, so we'll figure that out, and we'll go from there. Okay, so we are back. We are going to add this adapter for the foot brace. It only goes to 1 psi, and these are twist pumps. So let's get this started. A little twist locks on these. I think I went a little over the one, but we got it back down where we belong. That goes sort of fast. And since I'm not going kayaking today, I'm just sort of seeing what it does. But that fits right in there. Now, the kayak will fit, as we get to it, a back seat and a front seat. Or we take this out and we can use it as one person with one seat rack. Something I don't have yet is they also have the covered deck for them. You can get the covered deck that's got just the traditional hole for the front and rear, and the rest of this is covered. Or you can get it for one person with the hole here. You get some extra cargo space with the bungees up here, and the rest of this back here is covered. So just they're really neat, and they can do a lot of different things that you want to do with them. But I'm setting it up for 2 people because that's going to be the primary use for it. And we'll okay. And these are, I remember the new seats, they're a little padded, they got a little collar back or something. I'm not sure when they changed into these, but people seem to make a thing about it. But we just put them in here and put them in. There's adjustments, so I guess depending on how far forward you want to be, I'll learn once I get little more with it. I'm sure I will learn some preferences on this. I can tell you right now, we're going to want to shorten that up some. We will see how this all works. Alright, same thing that we have for the footrest for this, and we go to 1 psi, so that should be pretty straightforward. And you can sort of adjust that. It basically makes a lumbar support, so whenever you're in the canoe, you can decide what you want to do with it. I'm going to go ahead and shorten these up. I don't see any reason for them to be all out right now. Probably learn why I didn't want to do that later, but that's part of what this is about. See if I can do this from here. That seems to be about all she wants. And that one's done. I'm going to go ahead and shorten these up. I don't see any reason for them to be all out right now. I'll probably learn why I didn't want to do that later, but that's part of what this is about. See if I can do this from here. That seems to be about all she wants. Okay, and the last thing that we have here, these little deck inflators, they call them. There's one that runs right around here somewhere and right around here somewhere, and they just seem to lift those off. Again, they're very much on the 1 psi, do not overflate it, which seems to go pretty quick. And tighten that down, pull that off. And it does, you can see here, it just holds up right here. And this side should lift up there. And these seem to take about a pump, so that's not bad at all. Okay, we're going to set this up for a single seat real quick. And then just for fun, we're going to pack it all back into the backpack. And then we will be done. So, but that's single seat. That's us set up for just me. Okay, let's see if we can get this in the backpack. I not only opened the valves, but you can use the pump. I mentioned that there was a deflate, so you reverse where the hose goes, and that worked real well, especially on the floor for vacuuming out some of the air on the floor. Basically, just work the pump until it gets stiff, and then you're done. So, first thing we do is we're folding this thing in half. I can definitely see it being a little harder to get it to fold back up the way it should if you don't try to vacuum some of the air. Okay, so we got it folded in half from the bottom. And so there's this aluminum ridge in here. And so what they said we do, tuck this down here. We're folding right here at this aluminum ridge. We're folding that piece on each end. Then we're folding it back into the middle. Should be about there. Back into the middle about there. Then over again in half. And this should fit back in our bag. And then we just have to add the seats. So let's see how that goes. All right, so far so good. And it'll zip up and everything quite happily. We just got to add the seats, and we are good. And they just fit in here pretty nicely in between where it's folded. Big key is just making sure we can pull everything back together, which we should well be able to. Of course, zipping is always the hardest part here. and we're back and done. I think that it's going to be an enjoyable trip next time, and then we'll just have to see how we go unpacking the car from there. It's going to be a good thing. Look forward to seeing everybody out there. If you have a chance, stop by the website. If you didn't find this from there, it's COETentCamper.com, and get to see some of the adventures. Probably also put a little spot on how I like it once I get it out on the water. We'll go from there.